From MTN News, you're watching Montana This Morning.
A pandemic warning goes out from the Gallatin City County Health Department as cases soar. Up next, learn how it's not hospital beds that are needed, but more healthcare workers.
A second nursing home in Butte has been the site of an outbreak of positive COVID-19 cases, and sadly, more deaths.
Ahead of 6:30 on this Friday the 13th. Chet Lehman, Holly Brantley, Matt Elwell with you here. Matt, not too bad out there this morning for the most part.
I got an extra shot of it this morning.
You got
it's
a
Friday
second
the
trip.
13th, people.
The tie looks lovely, by the way. It could be so much worse. I guess we just need to count our blessings in some ways, because it could be like 12 below zero.
And in some cases, it is below zero when you factor in the wind.
That's true, yeah.
So that's kind of our drawback today, is going to be the wind. There is a chance of some snow as well, single digits for a few areas. Areas that are seeing temperatures into the 20s and 30s are also dealing with some gusty winds already this morning. I expect to see some snow try to develop as you head into the afternoon. It's mainly a mountain-driven event, but we may see some light accumulation by tomorrow morning for parts of the area. I'll break that down for you coming up from the Billion Auto Group weather patio. Temperatures today into the 30s, a lot of wind, and the potential of some snow in the region. Complete forecast coming up in just a little bit.
All right, thanks, Matt. Well, the Gallatin City County Health Officer says the Gallatin County healthcare system is becoming strained by record numbers of daily COVID-19 cases going on 2 days in a row.
Yeah, Wednesday marked the county of 286 new cases, a record high. Yesterday's new daily total broke that record again with 296 new cases. Matt Kelly says the healthcare system cannot keep up with growing numbers, and the numbers of available healthcare workers who aren't having to quarantine is dwindling. He adds the bed capacity of Bozeman Health Deaconess fluctuates, but having available staff members to care for those coming in is important, a stress felt by both healthcare employees and school teachers.
You know, I talk to teachers almost every day, and I can tell you teachers, much like nurses and doctors and techs in the hospital, are putting everything they can into this. But they're tired and they're stressed, and some of them are scared.
Kelly says right now there are about 10 to 20 COVID-19 cases per long-term care facility in Gallatin County. He has to keep following the usual recommendations, avoid gatherings if at all possible.
Well, the state of Montana has added 988 new COVID-19 cases in the last 24 hours and 8 new deaths. Blaine County reported its 14th death shortly before 9 o'clock last night. With those new numbers, the state death toll climbs to 505. According to the state, health officials are tracking more than 15,400 active cases statewide and 499 active hospitalizations.
As we just mentioned, Gallatin County topped 250 cases for the second day in a row. State also tracking 923 active cases in Gallatin County. Silver Bow County, 71 new cases, 486 still active there. You can find all the latest numbers by visiting our website.
Well, Governor Steve Bullock and state health officers made another appeal Thursday to Montanans to step up their efforts to stop the spread of COVID-19 in the state.
They said if Montanans don't strictly follow public health guidelines, the state's hospitals and economy will be overwhelmed. At the Capitol, MTN's Mike Dennison picks up the story.
In his first public appearance since losing last week's U.S. Senate election, Bullock said alarm bells are ringing loudly on COVID-19 and that Montana is approaching a crisis situation. He noted that 10,000 cases were reported statewide in the 11 days that ended last Sunday, pushing the total cases past 40,000 when it took 6 months to reach the first 10,000 infections in the state. But the governor said without additional aid from Congress, he won't go back to greater restrictions that would impose more economic burdens on families and businesses.
I've never wanted to punish the businesses that are doing right in this pandemic, that keep their employees and customers safe. Shutting down those businesses would do just that.
State Medical Officer Greg Holtzman said that hospitals in Montana are becoming overburdened with COVID-19 patients and that local health departments can't keep up with contact tracing on so many new cases. He also said Montanans cannot sit and wait for a vaccine, which won't be widely available this winter.
Please stop the arguing about what one does not want to do and ask yourself, what can I do? What can we do to help protect our communities and decrease the stress and burden on all our frontline workers?
Bullock echoed those comments, urging people to take the steps that he said would make the upcoming winter a lot less challenging and a lot less dark.
I asked Montanans certainly to do this, not for me. Do it for the many who are working in our crowded hospitals to make sure that you can still seek care. Do it for those in our communities who are making sure that you can get a test or that a business can safely stay open instead of going under. Do it for the thousands of kids who rely on their schools for more than an education, and for the parents working to keep the heat on and put food on the table.
While Governor Bullock delivered his message Thursday on COVID-19 with a bit more urgency, it really hasn't changed. Take this seriously, Montanans. Social distance and wear a mask. At the Capitol, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
Again, the state on Thursday surpassed 43,000 total cases, and almost 18,000 of those are considered active.
The Montana State University Director of Athletics says the MSU is planning on starting the basketball season with no fans in the stands. In a release, Athletic Director Leon Costello says with the continuing rise in COVID-19 cases, this precautionary step is necessary to allow teams to compete safely. MSU is providing ways to listen and watch each game, and you can find out how to do so on our website.
6:35 now. It's the second outbreak of COVID-19 cases to hit a facility that houses some of Butte's most vulnerable citizens.
MTN's John Amy has the details on Copper Ridge and how the health department is responding.
A second nursing home in Butte has been the site of an outbreak of positive COVID-19 cases and, sadly, more deaths. 3 COVID-19 related deaths to residents at Butte's Copper Ridge Health and Rehab Skilled Nursing Facility have been reported. The Butte Health Department reports that 30 residents and 13 staff members have tested positive for the virus. While staff at this facility off Nettie Street have been diligent during the pandemic, the health department reports the first cases of the outbreak occurred in late October. This is the second nursing facility to report an outbreak. The first one occurred nearby at the Continental Care and Rehab Facility off Continental Drive. Over the past couple weeks, the nursing facility off Continental Drive has reported a total of 12 COVID-19 related deaths among residents. Both facilities are working with the health department to try to keep the outbreak under control. In Butte, John Amy, MTN News.
Now, these outbreaks occurred during a spike in COVID-19 cases in Butte, Silver Bow County. Health officials are asking people to stay home and try to avoid spreading the virus.
In other headlines this morning, Marissa Underwood, Miss Montana USA, is back in the Treasure State after competing in the Miss USA pageant.
The title was won by Asia Branch, Mississippi this year. Branch made headlines for being the first black woman to represent her state.
Underwood says she plans to continue her fight to increase awareness of animal rights and being an environmental activist. MTN's Phoenix O'Connor has her story.
Montana!
There's just something about the Miss USA stage. It's the most elite, most prestigious pageant stage anywhere.
But what was it like going to Miss USA during a pandemic?
It was stressful. In the beginning, before we left, we had to take an at-home COVID test. And they told us, you know, if you do test positive, you can't come and you're done essentially. And I get that logically, you know, that's science. But a lot of us were really afraid of that.
Jamie Forthseth is this year's Miss Montana. She watched from the crowd as Underwood took the stage. She also adds that the pandemic changed the experience as well.
They checked all of our temperature as we were walking in, and they separated the chairs according to the groups that you signed up. So if you came with your family, you could all be in a group. Miss Idaho and I went together.
When it came to the crowning, both title holders sat at the edge of their seats as Miss Idaho won first runner-up. The title of Miss USA went to Asia Branch of Mississippi.
She exuded everything that Miss USA should be. Her answer, her walk, everything. She was so confident, so intelligent, and obviously gorgeous. And another cool part of that was Miss Idaho USA, which is bordering on Montana, was first runner-up Miss USA. So the new Miss Idaho USA and I were sitting together and we were losing our minds. It was so cool to watch someone that we're close with get first runner-up and be on the last two standing.
For Underwood, her platform was to increase awareness of environmentalism, climate change, and being more eco-conscious. Anything that you would like to say to Montanans one last time?
The image of a pageant girl is, in my eyes, somebody who wants to make an actual change in their community. And so a lot of women are really afraid to come out and stand by something that they're really passionate about that might be controversial. And while I didn't win and I didn't place, I still look at the entire year as a win as a whole. Because for me, if I had been any quieter, I wouldn't have the same results that I have now, where I have people messaging me saying, my whole family's vegan. We're gonna have a vegan Thanksgiving. Or when we watched Miss USA, we had a vegan dinner in honor of you.
For MTN News, I'm Phoenix O'Connor.
Again, we wish her congratulations for representing Montana so well. Good
Those
stuff.
ladies work very hard to get to that point,
And what a challenge
all
the
the best
pandemic
to
has
her.
thrown into that as well. So
Yes.
there you go. 6:40, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, if you shopped for a used car this summer or fall, you might have been blown away by high prices. Coming up, find out how there's a little relief in sight for those needing to replace a vehicle.
But first, let's check in with our friends at CBS to find out what's coming up at 7.
Ahead on CBS this morning, governors nationwide warn against traveling for Thanksgiving and urge family gatherings to remain small. We'll talk to Dr. Anthony Fauci about the accelerated COVID spread and what needs to change to get things under control. Plus, Cindy McCain on supporting Joe Biden. She talks with us about her role as a Republican advising the president-elect during the transition. And we're at the Kennedy Space Center to mark the start of a new era in travel to the International Space Station. How one astronaut in particular is making history. All that coming up when we see you at 7.